The ocean was dark that night, endless and heavy under a restless moon. Waves rolled like drums, and somewhere in that deep rhythm, the first note of jazz was born. The USS Liberty Dawn cut through the black waters, its hull shimmering under flashes of lightning. The crew moved in silence, their boots clicking on steel like a snare beat. From the ship's speakers, a soft saxophone began to hum, low, steady, matching the pulse of the sea. War was near, but for a brief second, it sounded like music. Inside the bridge, Captain Reynolds stood before the glass, cigarette glowing faintly between his fingers. "Weather's turning ugly," his officer said. Reynolds didn't answer. He just watched the rain, each drop tapping the window like a drummer testing tempo. In the distance, radar screens flickered, faint dots moving closer, too many to count. The captain smiled softly, the kind of smile that hides both fear and pride. "Let them come," he whispered. "Tonight, the ocean listens to jazz." Below deck, the engine room was alive with mechanical growls and trumpet echoes. A record player spun Blue Skies Over Harlem, the same song they always played before battle. The men didn't talk much, they didn't have to. The rhythm of the ship and the melody of the storm said everything. It was a concert written in steel and fire. Far below, in the cold silence of the deep, the USS Neptune's ghost submarine waited. Its sonar pinged like piano keys in a slow melody. Commander Ellis leaned over the console, whispering coordinates. Target range, 4 miles. The room was dim, bathed in red light. The jazz track that played through the crew's earpieces was Autumn Leaves. A strange choice for a war, but Ellis liked how the tune made time slow down. He raised his hand. Fire 1. A torpedo slipped from the hull like a quiet note released into the water, unseen but destined to change everything. The surface erupted moments later. A flash, a roar, a wave that swallowed the horizon. Jazz trumpets climbed higher as explosions mirrored their pitch. Fighter jets streaked across the sky, silver arrows with engines roaring like bass amplifiers. Each missile strike followed the rhythm of the drums, perfectly timed, as though the battle itself was choreographed by sound. Midnight waves, the operation was called. The ocean glowed in brief bursts of orange and gold. The captain's voice echoed through every radio, "Hold the line. The Pacific plays for us tonight." The sailors laughed nervously, their breath turning to mist. They didn't feel like heroes, not yet. They were just notes in a greater song, some high, some low, all necessary. Hours passed. Rain turned to fog. The storm softened into a slow jazz number, the kind that makes time feel suspended. From the deck, the wreckage of enemy ships floated like broken instruments on a dark stage. The wind carried the sound of distant thunder, or maybe applause. No one could tell the difference anymore. Morning came quietly. The sun rose over the Atlantic, painting the waves in gold. The fleet was scattered but alive. Captain Reynolds lit another cigarette, his face carved with exhaustion. "How many?" he asked. "Too many," the officer replied. The captain nodded. "And the song?" "Still playing, sir." He smiled. "Then we're not done." By noon, the counterattack began. Enemy bombers appeared as black silhouettes against the sunlight. Sirens wailed. The saxophone on deck screamed with them, a wild, haunting solo that matched every dive and turn. Anti-aircraft guns fired in rhythm, each shell a percussion hit. The sky turned into a smoky stage where death and music danced together. One bomber broke through. It dove straight toward the Liberty Dawn, engines shrieking. The captain stood firm, gripping the rail as the jazz swelled. "Brace." The explosion came like a cymbal crash. The deck shattered, men thrown into the sea. For a heartbeat, all sound vanished, no waves, no wind, no music. Only silence. Then, from the burning wreckage, the faint crackle of an old trumpet returned through a broken speaker. The melody limped but survived. Underwater, the Neptune's ghost caught the echoes. Commander Ellis closed his eyes, recognizing the tune. He gave the order. "All ahead. Bring the brass back." The submarine rose, surfacing through smoke and debris. Its hull gleamed like black glass, dripping fire and seawater. The periscope turned, locking on an enemy carrier in the distance. "Play it loud," Ellis said. The torpedoes fired, 2, then 3, each one in perfect time with the beat. The sea exploded again. Flames reached for the sky, painting clouds with sorrow and glory. From the ruins of the carrier, the sound of metal twisting mixed with the cry of the saxophone, an anthem of survival. The Americans had lost ships, friends, and silence, but they had not lost rhythm. As night returned, the surviving fleet gathered near the coastline. The sea was calm now, waves tapping gently against the hulls. A portable record player sat on the deck, spinning misty. The trumpet sang softly to the stars. Sailors leaned against railings, staring into the dark water where their brothers had gone. Jazz had never sounded so human. Captain Reynolds limped across the deck, one arm bandaged, coat soaked. "How's the radio?" he asked. "We're back online, sir." "Good," he said. "Send the message, the ocean still sings." He looked out toward the endless horizon, where faint lights hinted at another fleet waiting. The war wasn't over. The second act was about to begin. The next morning, fog rolled over the sea like curtains rising for Act 2. The remaining ships formed up, their silhouettes emerging slowly, steel ghosts reborn. The rhythm picked up again, faster now, with drums echoing from the waves and engines humming in sync. The jazz wasn't background anymore, it was command, heartbeat, destiny. Operation Sea Smoke had begun. Missiles arced overhead, smoke trails weaving patterns like musical notes written across the sky. Every explosion had tone and pitch, every scream of metal matched the brass. Pilots radioed in with code names inspired by instruments, Sax 1 in position, Bass 2 moving east. The language of war had become the language of sound. The enemy responded fiercely. Submarines surfaced like shadows, their missiles hissing. For a moment, the harmony broke, chaos overtook rhythm. But then, from somewhere across the ocean, a new trumpet solo began. The Americans had a jazz band on one of the carriers, broadcasting live into every headset, every speaker. The players didn't see the battle, but they could feel it. Their rhythm guided the soldiers, their music gave the chaos meaning. The climax came near dusk. Both fleets locked in range, guns blazing, sky on fire. The ocean boiled with light and fury. Yet beneath the madness, the melody stayed. The brass section roared, the drums pounded, the sax wept. And as the final missile launched, everything, sound, fire, water, became one pure note of defiance. When silence finally fell, the sea stretched empty once more. Smoke drifted across the horizon like tired breath. Ships burned quietly, their reflections trembling on the calm surface. The jazz faded into a faint hum, like a heartbeat slowing after a long race. Night came again. On the deck of the last standing ship, a young sailor held a trumpet to his lips. He played alone, eyes closed, face lit by the pale blue glow of the sea. The melody rose and fell with the waves, soft, endless. Somewhere deep inside, the ocean listened, and answered with its own rhythm. By dawn, the war was over. The radios confirmed it. The American flag waved weakly in the sea breeze, its edges torn but its colors unbroken. Captain Reynolds stood at the bow, hat in hand. "We played our song," he said quietly. And the sea heard it. The trumpet played one last time, fading into silence as gulls circled overhead. The final note lingered, echoing across the horizon like a promise. The ocean would remember the sound of jazz forever, not as a song of victory, but as a hymn for every soul that fought, drowned, and dreamed beneath the waves. The sea was still, the record stopped spinning, and somewhere in the quiet, the world began again.